an author of the novel called Al-Bidaya or Thawrat 2053 or the Revolution of 2053, the beginning, about a futuristic Egypt as the events are portrayed in the year 2026 in the form of a diary of an electronics engineer. The novel has two parts of 400 pages each. So I'll be starting with Mr. Mahmoud. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Tell me more about the novel, the first part of the novel, actually.
The first part, it was mainly about the awakening of the main character and discovering his true being. It's portraying an environment very similar to the social and economic environment of the pre-revolution, pre-Egyptian revolution. Actually it was supposed to be that Mubarak has inherited, Gamal inherited the Mubarak regime, and now he is preparing his son to be present as well. So it's very similar to the pre-revolution era. The first part, it's about discovering his true being and true nature of himself.
If we move to the current intense and critical political situation and also social conditions nowadays, if you can give us your opinion about what's going on today in Egypt.
I think we're still in the revolution phase that didn't end till now, because the main slogan of the revolution, none of them till now has been implemented.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that the political situation didn't change much. And the fight is still will be still going on, and not only politically. I think from the revolution side, there has to be a continuation of the 25th January revolution.
Mr. Mahmoud, you've told us about the first part of the novel regarding the revolution in 2053, which is actually a prediction for what has happened in the past 2 years. Tell me more about the predictions that actually came true during the novel and in the real life.
Actually, it wasn't a prediction, it was a call for initiatives and a call for
the revolution.
A call for the revolution. And the last part of the novel, it's dots where the reader would write the continuation of the second part. The main things actually that you can say that there are predictions that maybe Kulluna Khalid Said movement, there were very similar incidents in the novel. The falsification of the election of 2010, this was also predicted in the novel. The non-continuation of the grandson of Mubarak, which is Gamal's son, to be a president. There were a revolution just before the presidential year election, and this was exact timing of the revolution 25th. Also using the internet and the bloggers and the networking all over Egypt through the net, also this, and the main motives for the people who went to start the revolution, which was freedom, the social justice, and human dignity. And that also that the martyrs and the blood of the martyrs, this is what will make the real fuel for the revolution to continue and not to stop.
Today there is opposition for the Islamist parties or the Islamist factions. There is also a blend, or it seems like a blend, between the former regime opposition and the liberal and revolutionary opposition. How are you seeing this today? And how are you seeing this sort of blend really implemented?
I do not see it as a blend. I see that if you have a code and you do believe in it, and you have an obvious truth, so anybody who will call for this cause and for this obvious truth will be categorized in the same basket, which is not true, because there isn't a blend, but there is how to say, the same call for the same justice to be done. And this doesn't mean that the cause in itself has something wrong. It doesn't mean that, and it doesn't mean some sort of alliance between people who doesn't believe in the revolution and people who do believe in the revolution. No, it's a coincidence to meet same objective in the same time, but the name of the cause in itself is the same, and this is what matters.
Mhm.
But in the novel الثورة 2053, or the revolution of 2053, you said that you had a call for the revolution before it actually happened in Egypt. What about the current crisis, the current political crisis in Egypt? Do you have any predictions or any calls for the future maybe?
I'm pretty sure that the revolution will reach its target at the end, and I cannot see any dictatorship ruling Egypt again. I cannot see it, because once you felt freedom, even for just an instance, there is no way you can let it down unless you're a dead body. So I do not see a dictatorship returning to rule Egypt without taking into consideration that the head of the regime is serving the people. He's a public servant, so he's serving the people, and the power actually, and it's in the hand of the Egyptian. And until this is realized, it will take time, maybe 5-10 years from now, but until this is realized, the revolution will continue, and no regime will be able to dominate this positive energy and this immense power and hope for the Egyptians.
Do you think the Islamist or the Islamic factions are able to achieve the objectives of the revolution?
I cannot call it. I cannot call it Islam. I can call it the politicians who are dominating, or the president Muhammad.
The current administration.
The current administration.
Do you believe they would be able to meet the objectives and demands of the
No, it's
revolution?
impossible for them to meet, because there is a conflict of ideologies between the current administration and the revolution. The revolution believes in the freedom of thought, believes in deliberation, believes in the human dignity. As for the current administration, they want everybody to see all aspects of life from their scope of from their own scope, and to be convinced that this is the only right way of seeing things, which is impossible. And anybody who will try to dominate and enforce his vision, and it's very narrow vision, I might add, his narrow vision on the people, and this is to believe that this is the only way out, he will fail. So
let me share with you a thought as a writer and a thinker. Today the Muslim Brotherhood and the Freedom and Justice Party and the current administration, like you mentioned, are more focused towards what they call their revolution targets and objectives. So just a thought, let's discuss it together. Do you think the Muslim Brotherhood's revolution succeeded while the revolutionaries' uprising failed?
No, I do not see it that way. I cannot see anybody who believes in obeying orders to be as a part of their ideology and their hierarchy. I cannot see them succeeding in ruling Egypt or administrating Egypt towards achieving its...
But at least they're succeeding in their political power and their focus on their objectives.
Implementing their agendas, at least.
or the agenda?
If you look at the 5 months where Mohammed Morsi is in the regime, and you look back at the general and the parliament election, talking about 70%, narrowing down to maybe
55 or 54.
yeah, 55 or 52, and now it's only 17% of the people who are eligible to vote. They said yes to the constitution. Only 17%, and this is compared to 1 year period of success, as you call. This is, in my point of view, a major failure, and in my opinion, it will be demonstrated in the next parliament election.
But it seems that most of the opposition are analyzing the numbers from the drop of the March referendum of 2011 towards the current referendum as more of an Islamist drive at that time. But if you remember and analyze the numbers at the referendum of March of 2011, it also had a lot of major force behind the former regime.
Yes.
So it is not necessarily a drop of only the Islamist
No.
parties. This is the projection that the people or the opposition are betting on.
No, I was talking about the parliament election. I was talking about the parliament election,
parliamentary elections.
and the presidential elections.
Mhm.
There is in this, if you compare the numbers, no, there is a major
In terms
drop.
of a turnout.
Yes, and all of the people I know in the revolutionary side, they voted for Mohammed Morsi, and they were all in al-Ittihadiyya.
Yes.
All of
All
them,
against him now.
all against him. So I know because everybody around me were voting for Mohammed Morsi. Everybody.
So they're losing popularity, if I may say.
Definitely, and very, at a very speedy, speedy way.
Well, Mr. Mahmoud, away from politics now, the main characters of your novels, the revolution of 2053, were actually suffocated by the technology. Do you think that we, as normal people living in the real world, are actually being suffocated by technology now?
Yes, I think when technology starts to be an end in itself, yes, this is suffocating people. People are not regarding technology as mean.
Or as a tool.
Or as a tool.
Yes.
And this is a major problem. And I think if, I mean, and you can notice it even at work, the productivity of work compared to the amount of time spent in the technology itself, and the telecommunications, I think if you don't direct the technology in the right path, it will kill us. It will backfire at the end.
So some specialists claim that the novel can have different interpretations and also different levels of readings. How would you comment on this?
I leave this to the reader, definitely. But yes, when I wrote the novel, I put it was in form of diaries, and there were the email of the main character speaking to the people who are reading the diaries, and I received thousands of mails on the main character mail. So people thought that this might be a working mail, and they did send, and I did receive it. And I can tell you that when I wrote the novel, there were 3 levels in the novel, and I can assure you that most of the people reach the 3 levels in a way. If you combine all the feedback from the readers, I think all the 3 levels were reach the people. But I did write it, yes, like that. If you like, I can talk more. There were a level of how to say, the story in itself and the characters, and this is one level. There were a second level about the symbolic characters representing the different social levels in Egypt, and there were a more humanitarian level and addressing the humanity as a whole, so symbolically, of course.
Even before the January 25th revolution, you have been a believer of change. In your opinion, what is required today on the ground to achieve change, in order to have consensus, in order to have an open and fruitful dialogue between the different political powers?
I don't see political power succeeding in the very near future. I think it will take a longer time. But in the near future, I see the networking between the various isles in Egypt. For example, the people in Cairo has nothing to do with the people on the south in Said or in the poorer urban areas. I think networking between the true Egyptian community is an essential démarche that needs to be led to reach somewhere. Unfortunately, 85% of the population, the poor side, are not covered by any media, by no network, by any even social activities, and I think this is a problem that needs to be overcome to have any success in the future.
Okay, but my final question now, and please, maybe in 2 minutes, what are your coming projects and novels that you're going to write?
I'm thinking about something for the children, actually. Adventures for the children, revolutionary adventures for the children.
This is a change of path.
Yes, but because I always liked when I was a kid to read.
But that's a lot harder to write for children.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And maybe conveying some revolutionary ideas to them as
yes,
you may want.
Yes, this is my intention. This is my intention.
Right. Finally, Mahmoud Osman with